Have you ever felt like your emotions were working against you, pulling you down or holding you back? What if I told you those very emotions have the power to transform your life in ways you've never imagined? In this series, I will show you how to turn your negative emotions into your greatest superpowers. Negative emotions like fear, anger, sadness, and guilt, most of us see them as obstacles to overcome. But what if they weren't obstacles at all? What if they were doorways to your greatest strength? I know how overwhelming these emotions can feel. For years, I thought of my emotions as burdens, weighing me down and keeping me stuck. But then I discovered something profound. Emotions are not the enemy. They are signals pointing me toward hidden beliefs and untapped inner power. In this video, I will share what I've learned about negative emotions, why we feel them, what drives them, and how we can transform them. You will learn to recognize the beliefs behind your emotions and discover strategies to shift them into 8 powerful superpowers. By the end of this video, you will have a completely new perspective and practical tools to take control of your emotions and your life. So let me ask you, what do you think is driving your negative emotions? For me, negative emotions are driven by beliefs and perceptions that are out of alignment with our true selves. They often arise because of one or more of the following 7 reasons. Number 1, fear-based beliefs. At their core, negative emotions are often rooted in fear. Fear of failure, rejection, uncertainty, or even success. Sometimes it's the fear of how things might change after success, pushing us into unfamiliar territory we perceive as risky or negative. For example, fear of success might whisper, what if I lose friends or family? What if people think I'm selfish or evil? These thoughts often stem from beliefs like being wealthy or successful is wrong, or success will isolate me. Negative emotions like anxiety, frustration, or sadness arise as signals telling us, you are not safe, you are not good enough, you are not in control. Imagine feeling anxious about an upcoming presentation. Beneath the surface, you might believe if I mess up, people will think I'm incompetent. That fear stems from a lack of trust in your ability to handle what might happen. It's the fear of the unknown, of losing control over the outcome. Number 2, misaligned expectations. Negative emotions also emerge when our expectations clash with reality, when what we believe should happen doesn't match what actually happens. It creates resistance. This gap leads to disappointment, frustration, or anger. For example, you might expect someone to treat you with kindness, but they act rudely instead. Your anger may come from the belief people should show kindness in return for kindness. The disappointment deepens when you realize you've allowed someone else's behavior to dictate your emotional state. This happens because we unconsciously give our power away. By expecting others to act a certain way, we let them determine how we feel about an outcome. Number 3, past conditioning. Our upbringing, culture, and past experiences heavily shape the way we interpret situations. Most of our beliefs and definitions about life aren't chosen by us, they are inherited. If you grew up in an environment where a certain career or salary was the measure of success, you might feel negative emotions when you don't meet those standards. It's not the situation itself causing the pain, but the meaning you've attached to it, based on past conditioning. Negative emotions are also triggered when unresolved pain resurfaces or when old beliefs no longer align with who we are today. For instance, if you grew up feeling unheard, even a small criticism from a colleague might spark feelings of inadequacy or sadness. This can happen even if the situation isn't personal and even if you've grown stronger and wiser emotionally. Think of it like an unhealed wound. When someone touches it, unintentionally or not, it still hurts. The same happens with unresolved conditioning. Until it's stressed, it continues to cause pain. This is where the power of presence comes in. By pausing, observing the situation, and reflecting on how you want to interpret it, you can shift your response. For example, if criticism triggers an old wound, you can acknowledge the reaction without letting it define the moment. You might say to yourself, This isn't about the person criticizing me, it's about an unresolved belief I have. This criticism doesn't define me. I can take it as constructive feedback and grow from it. The intention behind how you interpret the situation changes everything. When you choose to separate the past from the present, you reclaim your power to respond in a way that serves you. Number 4, external validation and comparison. Negative emotions often arise when we tie our worth to external factors, other people's opinions, societal standards, or comparisons. This creates a constant loop of self-doubt and inadequacy. For example, you might scroll through social media and think, why does everyone else seem so successful and happy while I'm struggling? You may start to feel envy or a sense of unworthiness. But here's the truth, you are basing these emotions on assumptions. You are assuming that others are perceiving you negatively or that they have perfect lives. In reality, you can never truly know what someone else is thinking or experiencing. What you are reacting to isn't their reality, it is your perception of it. Here is the shift. Focus on what you can control, your response, your growth, and how you choose to interpret what you see. Instead of saying, why do they have it and not me, ask, what can I learn from their journey? How can I use this as an inspiration to create the life I want? When you let go of the need for external validation and comparison, you free yourself to define your worth from within. You stop reacting to assumptions and start responding to your own values and truth. Number 5, lack of presence. Negative emotions often arise when we are stuck in the past or projecting into the future. Regret and guilt keep us tied to what is already happened, while anxiety and fear pull us into what might happen next. In both cases, we lose connection with the only place where we truly have power, the present moment. The truth is, it's not about what happens to us, but about what we do with what happens. Here and now, we are in charge of how we respond and what meaning we assign to our experiences. Take the past, for example. It can be interpreted in 3 ways. Positively, as something that taught us or shaped us. Negatively, as something to dwell on in regret or sorrow. Neutrally, as something that simply was. When we focus on regret or play the victim, we stay stuck. But when we choose to learn from the past, it becomes a powerful tool for growth. An experience can show us what we don't prefer, guiding us to take a different approach and create better outcomes. Similarly, worrying about the future often paralyzes us. Imagine feeling guilty about a mistake you made years ago, or anxious about a meeting next week. Neither of these moments is happening now. You have a choice. You can let the fear or guilt take over, or you can act in the present, rehearse, prepare, rest, and focus on what you can control right now. The key to escaping the trap of past and future is simple. Return to the present moment. It's the only place where action happens, where change begins, and where life truly unfolds. Number 6, perceived lack of control. Negative emotions also arise when we feel powerless, trapped in circumstances we think we cannot change. This sense of being stuck often creates frustration, hopelessness, or even despair. For instance, you might feel frustrated in a toxic work environment because you believe, I have no choice but to stay here. But this perception of powerlessness often stems from 2 things. 1, not knowing how to make a change. 2, being attached to a specific outcome, which blocks us from seeing other possibilities. We often assume that only one specific outcome can solve our problem, and fear losing control over it. This attachment limits us. The truth is, we can't always predict the best outcome. Our perspective is limited, and life often has opportunities in store that we cannot yet see. But here's the good news. Even if you cannot change your external situation right now, you are in charge of how you choose to perceive it. Take the example of a toxic job. Quitting might not be an immediate option if you don't have a financial safety net. In that case, consider shifting how you experience the job. Focus on your mission and responsibilities. Engage only in what is relevant to your role and let go of what doesn't serve your purpose. If a colleague is over-demanding or intrusive, set boundaries. Communicate politely but clearly. Remember, a workplace is just a physical space where tasks are completed. When you stop letting external chaos dictate your emotions, you reclaim your sense of control. You may not be able to leave today, but you can decide how to experience and navigate it until a better option unfolds. Number 7. Misunderstood motivational mechanisms. Negative emotions can also be tied to motivational mechanisms. We naturally move towards what we believe serves us and away from what we believe doesn't. However, if our beliefs are distorted, our emotions will reflect that. We will keep choosing what we believe is the only and best option, even though intellectually we understand it's not serving us. This happens because the core belief sees it otherwise. For example, you might feel fear about starting a new project because your motivational mechanism is tied to avoiding failure rather than pursuing growth. It's the fear of failing and ending up unsupported or jobless, even when deep down you know that following your passion could lead to more freedom and happiness than where you are right now. Here, it's wise to check your motivation. Why do I feel fear about this situation? What belief or opinion am I holding on to that makes me think this option is unsafe or undesirable? Most of the time, it comes back to fear of the unknown and attachment to the familiar. It's your defense mechanism kicking in. Remember, fear is your way of keeping yourself safe. It doesn't actually know which option is safer. It acts based on your habits and emotions. If you feel negative about something, it's because you have a definition about that thing being negative. And guess what? That definition is just an opinion, and opinions can be changed. How? Start by looking for proof of other options. Teach your belief system that there are more interesting, fulfilling, and safer ways to approach the situation. Remind yourself that you are safe now, otherwise you wouldn't even be considering this change. These are the 7 main reasons why we experience negative emotions. As you can see, these emotions aren't here to harm us. They are trying to tell us something important. Something in our belief system needs attention. We are out of alignment with our true values or desires. There is an opportunity for growth and healing. When we stop resisting these emotions and start listening to them, they transform. They become powerful tools for self-awareness and personal growth. In short, negative emotions are driven by fear, misaligned beliefs, and disconnection from the present moment. They persist because we rarely question the stories we tell ourselves about our experiences. But here's the key. Once we recognize the root causes of these emotions, we gain the power to rewrite those stories. We can take responsibility for our definitions, shift our perspectives, and turn those emotions into guides for growth and transformation. With all that said, let's move to the next section, the superpowers hidden behind every negative emotion. Negative emotions often feel like obstacles, but when we take the time to understand and process them, they lead us to something extraordinary: emotional mastery. Emotional mastery is the ability to navigate your emotions with awareness and intention. It's not about avoiding negative emotions, it's about transforming them into strength. And it manifests in 8 powerful ways. Let's explore these 8 superpowers that emerge when you shift your perspective on negative emotions. Number 1. Emotional intelligence. Negative emotions are your first teachers in the journey to emotional intelligence. When you experience frustration, fear, or sadness, they are often pointing you toward deeper truths about your beliefs and triggers. Emotional intelligence is about learning to recognize and name what you are feeling. Identify the root cause of those feelings, respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. Imagine being caught in an argument where anger is bubbling to the surface. Emotional intelligence allows you to pause. Recognize that your anger is a signal, perhaps of feeling unheard or disrespected, and choose a response that aligns with your values rather than letting the emotion take control. The superpower: you develop clarity and composure even in the most challenging situations. Like the calm in the eye of a storm, you can navigate emotional turbulence without being swept away by it. Want to go deeper? I have a video that explains how to handle emotional triggers and why you should. It is linked in the description. Number 2. Resilience. When you transform negative emotions, you build resilience. The mental and emotional strength to face adversity without being overwhelmed. Resilience isn't about avoiding difficulties, it's about learning from them and growing stronger as a result. Think of a time when you faced a major setback. Maybe it was a rejection, a failure, or a moment of self-doubt. At first, the emotions may have felt overwhelming, but when you allowed yourself to process them and take action, you came out of the experience stronger and more capable. Resilience shifts your mindset from "why is this happening to me" to "why is this happening for me? And what can I learn from this?" The superpower, you bounce back from setbacks using challenges as stepping stones towards your goals. Each difficulty becomes an opportunity to strengthen your emotional foundation. Number 3, self-awareness. Negative emotions act like mirrors, reflecting your beliefs, motivations, and thought patterns. When you take the time to examine what is behind those emotions, you deepen your self-awareness. You begin to understand not only what you feel, but also why you feel it. For example, if you feel jealous of someone's success, self-awareness helps you uncover the belief behind it. Maybe it's tied to self-doubt or comparison. Once you are aware, you can challenge that belief and redirect your energy toward your own growth. Self-awareness is also about noticing the stories you tell yourself. Are they empowering or are they holding you back? The superpower, you gain clarity about who you are, what you value, and what you need to thrive. With this clarity, you can make decisions that align with your true self, creating a more intentional and fulfilling life. Number 4, empowerment. Negative emotions often feel like barriers, but when you realize they are signals, not obstacles, you reclaim your power. Each negative emotion is an opportunity to pause and reflect, to ask, what is this feeling trying to tell me? How can I use this insight to realign with my true self? Empowerment comes when you understand that you are not at the mercy of external circumstances. Instead, you are in control of how you interpret and respond to every situation. For example, frustration in a toxic work environment might initially feel like powerlessness, but when you step back and reframe your perspective, you can recognize it as an invitation to set boundaries or take actionable steps towards change. The superpower, you become aware of perception and its central role in shaping your reality. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start living with intention and purpose, crafting your reality on your own terms. Number 5, presence. Negative emotions often pull us into the past or push us into the future. Regret and guilt tether us to what is already happened, while anxiety and fear keep us fixated on what could go wrong. In either case, we lose touch with the one place where we have true power, the present moment. Transforming negative emotions requires anchoring yourself in the now. Presence allows you to observe your emotions without judgment and respond thoughtfully. Imagine feeling anxious about a big decision. Your mind might spiral with what-ifs. But when you bring your focus back to the present moment, you can shift from overwhelm to clarity. Mindfulness practices such as deep breathing or grounding exercises can help you stay present. These simple yet powerful tools remind you that you don't need to control the future or rewrite the past. You only need to take the next right step. The superpower, you find peace and power in the now. Presence gives you the clarity to act with mindfulness and gratitude, transforming worry into calm confidence. Want to explore this further? I have a full playlist on mindfulness tools and techniques to help you build this superpower. It's linked in the description below. Number 6, compassion and connection. As you process your own negative emotions, you naturally develop greater empathy for others. You begin to see that everyone is navigating their own struggles and beliefs. This understanding creates a profound shift. You realize that we are all operating from our perception mechanisms, shaped by our experiences and motivational systems. This insight is freeing. It allows you to move beyond judgment and into compassion. You understand that someone else's anger, fear, or sadness is not a reflection of you, but a reflection of their internal world. Compassion is the bridge to authentic connection. By embracing your own humanity, you can hold space for others to do the same. This doesn't mean you allow others to overstep your boundaries. It means you approach interactions with understanding and grace, fostering deeper, more meaningful relationships. The superpower, you cultivate authentic connections through compassion and understanding. This transforms relationships, allowing you to engage with others in ways that are both empathetic and empowering. Number 7, creative problem solving. Negative emotions, when processed constructively, can become powerful catalysts for creativity and innovation. When faced with frustration, fear, or sadness, we are often forced to look beyond our usual approaches and think outside the box. These emotions push us to adapt, innovate, and grow. For example, feeling stuck in a challenging situation might initially seem overwhelming, but when you pause and reflect, those same emotions can inspire you to explore unconventional solutions or consider perspectives you hadn't thought of before. The superpower, you transform problems into possibilities. By channeling your emotional energy into action, you unlock creative solutions and fresh perspectives, turning obstacles into opportunities. And number 8, alignment with true self. Negative emotions are often a signal that we are living out of alignment with our authentic selves. They arise when fear-based beliefs, distorted meanings, or societal expectations pull us away from our truth. When you let go of these limiting beliefs and the stories that no longer serve you, something remarkable happens. You reconnect with your true self. This alignment brings a sense of clarity, confidence, and inner peace. You stop chasing external validation or conforming to others' expectations and start living from a place of authenticity. The superpower, you become unstoppable. Guided by your purpose and immune to external criticism or approval, you create a life that is in harmony with your values and aspirations. And the ultimate superpower, freedom. When you transform negative emotions, the greatest gift you gain is freedom. Freedom from being controlled by fear, doubt, or external circumstances. You gain the freedom to create, connect, and grow in alignment with your highest potential. But this transformation starts with perception. It's not what happens to you that defines your experience. It's how you perceive, define, and interpret what happens. And emotions are your clue. Here's a question to ask yourself whenever negative emotions arise. What do I have to believe to be true about myself in order to feel this? When you identify the belief behind the emotion, you uncover the motivation driving it. Remember, the motivation isn't the fear or anger or jealousy itself, it's what you believe that emotion will do for you. Maybe it's trying to protect you, affirm you, or help you survive. What's the alternative? Find something more nourishing to fulfill that motivation. Instead of anger, choose understanding. Instead of jealousy, choose inspiration. Instead of fear, choose trust. And instead of loneliness, choose love. As we wrap up this video, I want to leave you with a powerful exercise that has personally transformed the way I handle negative emotions. I call it Reset. It's a simple yet effective method I created for myself to reframe negative emotions into superpowers moment by moment. Negative emotions can feel overwhelming, but with this exercise, you will take back control, redefine your perspective, and shift into a more empowering state. Whenever you feel a negative emotion, follow these steps. R for relax. Pause and take a deep breath. Give yourself a moment to stop the emotional spiral and calm your mind. E, examine. Check the trigger. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What is causing this reaction? What belief or definition am I giving to this situation? S, shift. Redefine the meaning. Ask, why do I believe this is negative? What alternative positive or neutral meaning can I give this instead? E, embrace. Acknowledge this new meaning. Sit with it for a moment and notice how it feels. T, thrive. Enjoy the clarity and empowerment that comes with this shift. Let it guide your next steps with confidence and intention. Over the next few days, I encourage you to observe your emotions closely. When you notice a negative emotion arise, apply the reset method. Practice pausing, examining the trigger, redefining the meaning, and embracing the shift. Here is how you can make the most of it. Journal your experiences. Write down the negative emotion, the trigger, and the new meaning you created. Leave a comment below sharing one example of how you used reset to reframe a negative emotion. Your story might inspire someone else to start their journey of transformation. In the next video, we will dive into 5 of the 10 negative emotions and reveal the superpowers hidden within them: fear, guilt, anger, shame, and sadness. You will discover how each of these emotions can become a tool for transformation, with actionable strategies to shift them into strength. Until then, let Reset guide you. Remember, every negative emotion is an opportunity to redefine, to grow, and to thrive. Thank you for your time and attention. Much love, and I will see you in the next video.